I'm going to read this document. And again, you can pull this down for yourself. So I like to make sure you know where to go so you can find this information. And it's not just you believing me. Don't believe a word I say. I'm showing you where it is. UNARepublic.com/DOCS. Go and pull it down and read it for yourself. It starts off the speech of the United Indians Nation at their Confederate Council near the mouth of Detroit River between 28th of November and 18th of December 1786. Presents the Five Nations: Hurons, Delawanis, Tawanis, Ottawas, Chippewas, Putawanis, Twitchwees, and forgive me if I'm butchering, I know I'm butchering these names, but Cherokees and the Wabash Confederates, to the Congress of the United States of America, brethren of the United States of America. It is now more than 3 years since peace was made between the King of Britain and you. But we, the Indians, were disappointed finding ourselves not involved in that peace according to our expectations. I need to stop right there because I need you to understand what has happened. Okay? Pay attention. Now I'm going into law so that you can understand what's really going on. At this time, those elite Moors had established the United States of America. And remember I said it's the United States of America Republic. What they have learned how to do, these elite Moors, they've learned how to get funding from the federal side. Okay, when we're talking about the federal, everything starts with the UPU. The UPU goes back to the Pope. All the funds come through the UPU. Who is the UPU, Diva? United Postal Union, or United States Post Office. They have to go through the UPU. UPU is over all of these countries. They pay everybody. That's where the money starts. So they found out how to get those funds through the UPU, these elite Moors. And so in doing so, now they can create this United States of America. But when you get funding from them, there are laws. That's why this was a republic, because their whole thing was you come to the United States of America and you're not persecuted for whatever your religious beliefs are. And we don't deal with the duchess and the kings and the queens and all that. That was their whole thing. But in order to do that, people had to come under their umbrella. And what they did was they degraded the status of the so-called Indians. Instead of making them a higher status because this is their land, no, they degraded their status to black, Negro, and colored. Pay attention. Pay attention. People in the back of the room, I had people coming at me talking about, well, you trying to take over our heritage. Somebody from Morocco thought we was trying to take over their heritage. Sir, you're not even paying attention. So come to the front of the room so we can make this clear. The people, those melanated elite Moors running the United States of America, they found a way to get funding on the federal side. And in doing so, they degraded the status of the so-called Indians, or the original people of the land. Well, why would they do that? Well, because they get funding if these are so-called black people or colored or Negro. And not only that, but you get to treat them however you want to treat them, because those statuses are lowered. That means they're less protected. That means you have to give them less funding because they're black. Meanwhile, watch this now. Let's say it's $1 million you get for each person. It's more than that now. But let's say it's $1 million you get for each person. If you call yourself black, I only had to give you like 2,000 of that. You call yourself black, I don't even have to give you much of anything, because I do have to treat you. I do have to, give you some kind of rights or protection, but I don't have to do a whole lot. And then I give you $2,000. I keep the rest. Meanwhile, if you are considered white, you get a little bit more access to that $1 million. If you are indigenous or Indian on their little, whatever the United States of America, SF 181, this is what I'm talking about. So those of y'all who know, SF 181. So if you are of that status, indigenous or Indian, then you get land, you get reservations, you get stipends because you have a little higher status. But that's not what they gave them. They gave them a lowered status. Not only that, these elite Moors, they eventually started to enslave the original people of the land. That's what's going on. So here you got the so-called Indians who are saying, hey, you didn't include us in the peace and friendship treaty. That's because they had degraded you, Indians. All right, let me continue. But we, the Indians, were disappointed finding ourselves not involved in that peace according to our expectations, for we thought that its conclusion would have promoted a friendship between the United States and the Indians, and that we might enjoy that happiness that formerly subsisted between us and our elderly brethren. We have received 2 very agreeable messages from the 13 United States. We also received a message from the king whose war we were engaged in. They were fighting in these people's war, desiring us to remain quiet, which we accordingly complied with. This reminds me of when Barack Obama got in the office and all the melanated people was like, all right, we ready to get hooked up now. They gonna hook us, he gonna hook us up. We gonna be great. And then he got in the office and it wasn't greater. There's more problems. During the time of the tranquility, we were deliberating the best method we could to form a lasting reconciliation with the 13 United States. Please, at the same time, we thought that we were entering upon a reconciliation and friendship with a set of people born the same continent with ourselves. Brethren, we still are of the same opinion as to the means which we may tend to reconcile us to each other. We are sorry to find, although we had the best thought in our minds during the before mentioned period, mischief have never things happened between you and us. We are still anxious of putting our plans of accommodation into execution. We shall briefly inform you of the means that seem most probable to us of effecting a firm and lasting peace and reconciliation, the first step towards which should, in our opinion, be that all treaties carried with the United States on our part should be with the general voice of the whole Confederacy, and we did everything in our power at the Treaty of Fort Hanwicks to induce you to follow this plan. All right, so I'm going to stop there, but I wanted to give you an idea of what's happening. All right, you've got the original people who are reaching out to the United States of America, this so-called Continental Congress, and they're saying, hey, we'd like to have a peace of friendship here because, you know, you guys have made some kind of agreement with Britain and you've left us out. Then this document goes on to talk about all of the treacherous things, how they were killing up the Indians or taking up land that had not been promised. So you got to understand now who is doing this. These are brown people who are saying, hey, we over here. Do you see us? We're trying to be peaceful. And the people who are running the United States of America are Moors. We know this because we know about the presidents before George Washington. George Washington didn't create this. And by the way, George Washington wasn't even Albion. He's a melanated person. He was a Moor. Even though Moor has nothing to do with skin color, we're going to get in that in a second. But now you see these Indians speaking out. You hear the ancestors speak in this document that you can go and pull down for yourself. Remember to keep that bell on for notifications. Follow UNARepublic for more great information.